afternoon. I don't know what time it is, and I don't know what day it is, and it doesn't
I don't even know
matter
what
because
day
we're all
it
in
is either.
quarantine. I am talking today with Josef Schnee of Stone Tours based in Orlando, and thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So for those that don't know, Stone Tours is a VIP service that is kind of a Sherpa helping you guide your way through the various theme parks in the Orlando area. And Josef, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the tourism industry. Is this something that you've been doing since you were a kid?
It feels like it, to be honest with you. I feel like my mother gave birth, and I'm like, all right, let's go to Disney and do a tour. I've been doing this now for 13 years. And it's really funny how it all started. I actually used to work at the Hard Rock Hotel here in Orlando, Florida. And it was a client that to this day, it's funny, 13 years later, we are still friends, and she still comes here. And I've seen her kids grow like other families, but I mean, it's all, you know how they always say, you never forget your first. And she was asking me a lot of questions about Disney, about this, and at the time I also used to work for Disney as well. I used to be an entertainer for Disney, and she was asking me questions, and I was like, "Oh, but you should do this. You should. Oh, but what about this? No. You should do this. You should do this." And I was giving her tips and kind of like writing her a plan about Disney, and then she just goes flat and say, "If I pay you, can you take us to Disney?" And I was like, sure. I mean, want to pay me to do rides? Okay. And I went, but when I got there, you got to remember, this is like my first time touring somebody. I didn't know exactly what a tour guide was. I mean, I knew a tour guide, yes, you show, but when it's a theme park, it's a complete different, because you're thinking in your head, it's like, okay, I'm just going to show her the rides. No, but these are people that really, they want to know more information about the ride. They want to know a little bit of history. They want to know fun facts. People love fun facts. With trivia. The kids, I mean, sometimes parents, they get so frustrated because they're like, oh, but come on, just do this right. And sometimes kids get so scared. And once it's in their heads, they make it, it's really hard to get that fear out of them. How do you make that child forget that fear for at least 2 seconds and get them on that ride? And, it's pretty impressive. Even for my first tour, even 13 years later, I still remember taking those kids, and the kids were afraid of the Haunted Mansion, for example. And I remember one of the kids had a Ghostbusters shirt. And I told him, well, you know what? You're right. We should be, you know what? It might be a little scary, but, we were with an official Ghostbuster, so light him up. And it's a line from the movie. And right there, the kid remembered. He was probably 5 years old. And he remembered this, and he was like, we're pretending we're hunting for ghosts. And I even remember singing the song with him or whatever. And yes, probably I looked ridiculous singing this song with this kid. But you know what? He did the right. And now, this is the sad part of the interview. He's a teenager. He's actually going for 17 years old almost. And he still remembers that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, he still remembers that. And it's insane that, when you take a family, they're supposed to be remembering the rides or Mickey Mouse. And when they remember the tour guide more than the rides and anything else, you did something right. And that right there, well, that's like, you know what? I think I want to do this forever. But at the time, I was doing it independently. I was just doing it by myself.
Right.
And then eventually, I met Andrew Stone, who later, obviously, we became working together and making Stone Vacation a thing. But at the time, it was funny because we met at a bar. Like, oh, great businesses.
That's not very, very Disney-esque.
Not very, very Disney-esque. But it was interesting because I met him, and it was like a marriage. Like immediately, as soon as I met him, I mean, I know it sounds really cheesy, but we literally finished each other's sentence. Like he knew what I was thinking before I even I remember we were a group of friends and he was talking, and I told him like, oh, that's a great idea, but what if you did this? Oh, like we were challenging each other. And I taught myself, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm curious that I can see myself working with him to making something. Which is a random idea. And years later, we made this company. We started with 5, and now we got 14 here. We got 10 in California. I mean, it's been a surreal. Sometimes I stop myself and think about, wow, like how amazing this, how amazing of a life I have, all because of taking chances, not being afraid of, of taking that chance. And it's been very good.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on our Disney partners because people, unlike any other destination, I mean, and I sell all of them, right? I have people going all over the globe. But with Disney, there's really this pressure that they feel that they want to, I think, recapture the nostalgia of their youth.
Oh, yeah.
And
Totally.
so I think that you guys are under a lot of pressure to make sure that delivers. What's the most common, like for me, if I'm doing Italy, right? I know people want to go to Rome, Florence, Venice, Rome, Florence, Venice. What's like your Rome, Florence, Venice for Disney?
It's a bit of a challenge because a lot of people definitely want to do that. We did Small World, for example. We did Small World when we were little, so I want my kids to do Small World. Even though we've had kids begging not to do that, right? But it's always, you have to do a mixture of both. You have to do a mixture of nostalgia. You have to do a mix of new things and excitement for the kids. But also, like, how do you put, for example, let's say that you have a group of teenagers, and it's their first time at Disney, especially the Magic Kingdom. And the first they talk, it's typical teenagers, they only want to do the fast stuff, Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain. They don't want to do Dumbo. They don't want to do any of that kiddie stuff. But it's funny how things have changed. Was once you're in the park, they kind of forget they're teenagers, and then immediately they became kids. And I always tell them, don't worry, we're at Stone VIPs. We have a strong policy. We will not tell anyone that you were doing Dumbo and having fun in Dumbo. And we kid with that, but they love that. But I think the one thing, to answer your question, definitely the more classic rides, like, for example, Small World, definitely it's a must for a lot of families. For kids who have never done a roller coaster, doing Space Mountain is a big, big landmark for them. I've always remembered that Space Mountain, I always tell every family, Space Mountain is the one ride that will tell you if you really like roller coasters forever or not. And that's something that every parent remembers when they first did it. And obviously, the challenge really is making sure that not only do they do that, but that they remember it.
Right.
Making sure that they remember. So you obviously want to make sure that the parents get to do that ride with those kids. Another thing about it is that first time they meet Mickey Mouse, even as obviously that's something that you really want to do, even if it's just from far away or just to meet or whatever, or maybe even their favorite character. And that's information that we actually get from the family before they actually come here. Because we like to customize our tours according to them. Not every tour is ever going to be the same.
Right.
But we like to customize the tour so that way each tour is special in their own way for that family in particular.
I think that's really important, because I frequently get asked the question. They're like, "Oh, are we going to skip all the lines when I go with Stone?" And I'm like, "Listen, it's not. You probably won't wait as much as you would, but it's not really about that. It's about them customizing the activities and the tours to you and what you're going to love, and making your whole experience better." And I don't think people get that when I first try to explain it, but once they've been with you or a member of your team, they're like, "Oh, now I get it," right?
Yeah, it's always like that, especially when you take them to the once they're, and that's normal. People have questions. People, this is not a cheap service, and we want to make sure that at the end of the day, they get their money's worth. I mean, to me, the biggest compliment when somebody says, "Wow, that was worth it." To me, that's like, I always say when somebody says that, every tour guy earns his wings.
I love that.
But to me, that's really worth it. And I want to make sure, families come here already with high expectations of what to do, what to expect. It's our job not just to do that, but to even make it bigger than that, to get them at that wow factor. I believe the biggest wow factor you can get with a family is as soon as you go in and you get them on a ride or anything like that, or for example, you get them inside the park before the park technically opens, or even the most smallest detail. For example, when the families, and I believe it's one of the pictures that I sent you.
Which one are we looking
at? When the family is walking towards Magic Kingdom. If you notice in that picture, nobody's looking at me. I'm just taking a picture of them going to Magic Kingdom. The important thing about that picture, that's the first moment they get to see that castle. That moment right there, it's one of those moments that, like you see, even though you see their backs, and exactly, even though you see their backs and they're walking, you see them like come like, oh my God, this is the start of our journey. This is, it's getting real.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see that like the little girl's taking her mom's hand and she like can't wait. She's ready to run.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. The little girl's grabbing her hand, like, oh my God, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go.
I
Like,
love
don't worry,
that.
the castle will be there. And
So
that's the
funny.
fun part of it. But see, that's the thing that as a family, they don't know that. They don't know, because it happens so fast. But then what we do is as guides, we send them those pictures. And that's actually one of the things that I specifically have been always known and always train all of my guides to do that, to take pictures of those moments that families don't realize are happening. For
Like this
example,
one, right? I mean, you can't just get that picture.
nope, there's actually no Disney Photo Pass pictures in that ride. And it's one of those things that the teacups, believe it or not, and this is where the story gets even better. Is the teacups is one of those rides that not a lot of people like to do because a lot of people don't like to do spinning rides. But it's one of those pictures that a lot of the kids actually remember a lot because it's one of those rides that they can they can do everybody as a family. But even if that's it, it's always that moment where like mom and dad decided, you know what, we're gonna do it for you. So it's like, in other words, I have to quote a client of ours where he said, I love the fact that you take pictures of our trip because that's gives me I consider it documentation so my kids can never say they had a crappy childhood.
Well, and I'll just from like a personal anecdote, I had one of your guides touring my family at Universal a couple of years ago, and we had one of the rides was a little too intense for one of the grandparents. And it was like amazing how quickly she was able to help us and like get him a place to sit down and calm him down and get him like, I don't remember if it was, some type of a medication. And like, it was really, I was thinking our whole day would have been derailed if we had been on our own. But because we had her with us, it really kind of saved the day. And it's just an incredible service. So here's my next question. We know what everyone is doing, right? Where everyone wants Peter Pan, they all want teacups, they want Small World, they want to beat Mickey, and they want Space Mountain. What are people not doing? What are they missing? I have an opinion on this, but I bet it's different than yours. What are people missing when they go to Disney World or Universal that they're not doing that they should be?
I think one of the more rides, I mean, it's definitely Carousel of Progress.
Oh, love that.
Carousel of Progress is an amazing ride because it tells you, it's one of the few rides that actually Walt Disney himself supervised personally. And he worked on that. So actually the one in Magic Kingdom was one of the rides that was actually at the World's Fair when he exhibited. And unfortunately, it's a ride that, people apparently have, a lot of people don't really seem to be interested in doing. And it's because it's all they're doing is talk and talk. Yeah, but you have to listen to really enjoy and appreciate this attraction, you have to transport yourself to the World's Fair. Oh my God, these robots are talking. All of this is happening. Like all this, like, not knowing about the future and all that stuff. And it's one of those rides that really makes you wonder where you got to remember this whole thing started with a man, piece of paper and a pen, just drawing this idea and going like, oh, what if we did this room that goes into another section of a different time. And when you tell, as you'll be very surprised, obviously a lot of the older clientele, they love that ride. They love that attraction.
Right.
But sometimes when you tell kids about it, they're like, I'm not really interested. But once they do it, they appreciate it because you transport them. You have to transport yourself to that era to really appreciate what it is. And then they start kind of like, oh, okay, I see the point of it. At Universal, even though I know it's very it's not for everyone, but I definitely will definitely recommend this attraction. I definitely like a lot of the animal actors.
Yeah.
The animal actors show. It's a show that a lot of people should see because I think it's amazing what they do with a lot of these animals are actually adopted from the Orange County Animal Pet Center, and it's amazing. You always see movies and you see all these dogs being so well behaved, and if you have a dog, you know, I mean, I'm like, why can't you be like the dog in the movie?
Totally. Like, you're either lazy or dumb. I'm not sure
I
which, but why
know.
aren't you doing that?
Exactly. And it's really interesting learning how they do those tricks and how you teach. And you can actually teach animals to do these things. And when you take kids again, you know, I mean, first of all, when you talk to them about the show, parents will go like, oh, but it's not fast. It's not a ride. Yeah, but sometimes just because it's not fast doesn't mean it's not fun.
Right.
And that's where having us as tour guides comes in handy, because we're taking you, yes, we're taking you on the rides and everything, but then we're expanding that experience into something more. Like maybe you're going to see something that you never thought you were going to see before. Maybe
Right.
you're going to appreciate something that you never. If we have an older clientele, we definitely recommend the Halloween Horror Makeup Show.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've never done that.
it's an amazing show. It's actually the longest and oldest show at Universal Studios.
Ooh.
And the reason for that is, one, it's super funny. Two, you know, if you like horror movies and stuff like that, you really you have to really appreciate what they used to do back in the 80s. And there was no CGI. It was all about makeup and effects and like stuff like that. And they teach you exactly how they do all of that stuff, and it's unbelievable. The performers they have there are funny, and every family, obviously, we make sure that to know which families we can take and which families can, you know, they like that the horror genre. And every family we got in there, they love it. And it's something that they always say the same thing. I would have never thought about doing this if you wouldn't have had Tony.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question. I'm going to put it on my list for the next time we book something.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So let me ask you this. We've talked a lot about families. I mean, everybody knows Orlando is great for families, but I'm sure that there is an adult and romantic component to it as well. I'm queuing up my pictures as we speak. So tell me a little bit about the adult side of Disney.
The adult side of Disney, believe it or not, it's bigger than what a lot of people expect. A lot of actually, it's really funny when you're taking families. A lot of people, why are there so many adults coming here to the theme parks? And then because, you know, maybe the theme parks are for everyone. And we've actually had experiences where people come here and propose, as you see in the pictures. This was actually a client that happened the other day where he wanted to propose to his girlfriend, but he wanted to do it really special, but he didn't want to do the cheesy thing about doing it in Main. I even told him, please don't do it in Main Street.
That looks like, are they at the Four Seasons?
They are at the Four Seasons.
There you go.
So,
at Kappa, right? At the top of the roof.
That's right.
All right.
So the whole idea was, and kudos to my photographer that when she took that picture, she took it even with the fireworks there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was fun because here comes a client. All he says to us is, I want to do something special for my girlfriend. I want to propose to her, but I need ideas. I want to be original. So what we did was we went that day actually first to Epcot. We went to Epcot, have fun. She had no idea of anything happening. And we obviously had fun. And then at the end, this was actually on Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, I went back to the hotel without them knowing, and we literally had a nice table for them, everything ready. And it was funny because he will go to the bathroom and call me. So, you know, we were.
She's like, why do you keep going to the bathroom?
I know. Poor girl was like, I thought he was sick or something. and because he was so, I was like, you know, you can text me too, but he was so nervous. It was so funny seeing him so nervous. And at the same time, you know, you're nervous too because this depends on you, but you want to, you know, you got to keep calm because if you're nervous and he's nervous, it's going to be a disaster. But we did it all. It came out good. I mean, at the time we scored it at 8:15 at the dot. The fireworks going to start, so he takes over there. We see the fireworks. As soon as the fireworks are 18 minutes exactly, everybody that was outside went back in, and he went on his knee, as you can see. And it was one of those things that you have to have you know, definitely everything worked out, and we took a picture, and it was just perfect. And she said yes.
That's it. I mean, that's another part of it too. I mean, you never get that moment without having
exactly.
those services.
And
so
that's
beautiful.
actually I think proposal. We've done that a lot of times. We actually done different type of proposals. Again, every depending on what's the interest of the client. Obviously, we've done that. Obviously, at Disney, we have done at Universal. there was this couple that wanted to get engaged at Harry Potter with the dragon and everything like that. Yeah, we do it all the time, and we enjoy it. We see it as a challenge because we obviously want to make sure that they everything, you want to make it as perfect as you can possibly make it, and it's fun, and adults, they keep coming back for it. So
I love that. So what is your favorite park snack? I know that there's like a Dole Whip butterbeer, competition online somewhere. Are you a fan of either of those, or what's your favorite in park
I gotta
snack?
go with Dole Whip.
Dole Whip.
Dole Whip. It is so amazing. It's one of those things that when you finish a tour and it's in like the middle of summer and it's so hot, that Dole Whip, let me tell you, it's actually funny because when we finish our tours, we usually finish our tours around 2:00 because the parade's at 3:00.
Right.
So we finish our tours. We actually try to. It's a little spot that we like by Adventureland that we love. Us as guys, we take our families there, and it's fun because I always like this spot because I tell families it has the 3 essential things that you need for a parade. And they're like, "What is it?" Number 1, it has a closed bathroom. You always need that. Number 2, it has shade. And number 3, it has a Dole Whip.
I know exactly where it is. You put the tiki room to your back.
That's right. So you're literally at the best spot. You can see the parade. You got your Dole Whip. You got a babathroom. You got a shade. You're perfect. You're good to go.
That's so true. That's awesome.
People always ask us, what's the difference between Disney World and Disneyland? And I tell them, you got the rides. Yeah, there's some certain rides in Disneyland that are like, one of my favorites was always Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I love that ride. The Alice ride is beautiful. The fact that you can go to the original Small World. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The Small World here is amazing, but it's that type of nostalgia. That was the actual Small World. But when you go in Disneyland, and you've been to Disneyland, right?
I've been to both. I prefer Disneyland actually. I like the smaller scale. Yeah.
And
yes.
When you walk in, and you remember, you see to your left, you see the building, the fire building with the light on that represents Walt Disney, because he actually used to live there. He actually was spending
right above there. Yeah, it's crazy.
And sometimes you just gotta stop by and like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Totally, I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. What is your plan when the quarantine's over? What's going to be your first activity?
You know what? As funny as it sounds, I love doing roller coasters. I love roller coasters since I was a little kid. To me, it's actually kind of like a therapy. Like, it just relaxes me. So as soon as this whole quarantine is over, I already told my girlfriend, we're going to go do a roller coaster, and we're going to go over and over and over.
Which one are you going to do? You're going to do like Hulk? Hulk is pretty intense.
Oh, Rip Ride Rocket. That's my favorite.
Oh, nice.
You can put the music and everything like that. So
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, once this is all up, I'm just eager to get back to work. We're just, all of us, and I think you can agree with on this one, we're all just eager to work. We just, we're just eager to start having that phone and calling people and just getting them inside the parks and having fun again and getting back to normal. I like, as strange as it sounds, I miss the Fast Pass stress.
That does sound pretty strange.
That's how bad things are. I miss the stress of Fast Pass, and but it's one of those things that you want to just go back to normal, and I definitely miss. I mean, the theme parks for us are it's everything, and obviously with this whole thing going on, it's affected the tourism industry. It's affected all of us in a big way, but by doing what you're doing right now, it's letting people know that, you know what, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We just need a little bit of time, and you discover hidden talents, like your talent right here.
What we need is a little faith and a little pixie dust, right? That's it.
Well, we can't forget Universal, so we need a little bit of faith, we need a little bit of pixie dust, and we need a little bit of with magic with Harry Potter.
Little Hogwarts,
little bit of Hogwarts, yeah. So between Dole Whip and Butterbeer and Faith, we'll be okay.
We got it. All right. Once again, we were talking with Josef Schnee from Stone Tours in Orlando. We thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, and it's awesome. And just be positive. It's going to be over soon, guys.